What is going on, everybody? My name is Rich, and this is Reviews with Rich, back with another film club. And today we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It feels so good to see a fantastic film again. As you guys might have known, if you've seen the channel lately, the last few films that have come out have really disappointed me. And so seeing this has just reinvigorated my enthusiasm for the cinema. And today we're going to be joined by two of my friends, one of which is on a live stream at the moment. His name's Peter, Triple G. And so he'll be joining us later on. And then we've got my buddy, Agent Silver Fox, a.k.a. Ian, who's a fantastic guy. Got to spend a lot of time with him and his missus at Star Wars Celebration a few months ago. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about the writer's strike, the actor's strike, movie news a little bit, and then we're going to go straight in talking about Mission Impossible 7, aka Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I'll introduce you to my buddy, Agent Silver Fox, aka Ian. Hey up, buddy.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you.
Oh, you too, brother. How's everything going?
All good, all good. It's honestly nice. We chat a lot, right, on text, and it's nice to see you. You too, almost physically again. So no, it's good.
Almost sharing a beer as well over stream this time.
Almost.
Where instead we retreated to of the hordes of people that were at Celebration and had a wee minute and a wee few beers, didn't we? So it was very nice. But yeah, how's your weekend? How's your week been so far?
The week's been great. I think, as we said earlier, I had a big family wedding, typical Scottish style, quite emotional because it's a year since I lost my dad, and I was wearing his kilt, and I put my own spin on it, so I got a custom jacket and all this stuff on. So it was my nephew's wedding, who's pretty much like my brother. He's not my nephew, he's like my brother. We're very, very close, and it was just an awesome wedding. You know, I think every wedding's great, but there's some traditional Scottish weddings that are really just, it's quite hard to beat, in my opinion. But it was great family time, had a great weekend, weather was good, a bit off the sun. Too much beers and wine. I was horrified to wake up on Sunday and see my bar bill.
Go on, tell us, how much did you spend?
£323.
Jesus Christ, man.
That's obviously just drink. It's not the room. It's not anything like that at all. So,
I'm assuming that's for you and Lucy, not just for you.
She got some rounds in as well, but I don't think she spent too much. The trouble was that some of the football guys that I used to go to the football. I don't do that anymore, and I've not seen them for a while. So I spent all my time either on the dance floor or at the bar. So,
good lad.
But okay, it was worth it. And I woke up without a hangover, so it's all good.
Wow. Well, that's rare. That's brilliant. Well done. But for me, my brother, I'm assuming you saw the vlog, but I did a vlog on my channel where went to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 in IMAX, and I saw my brother, who I've not seen in 6 months. He was over from Spain, and we had a fantastic day together, and it was just amazing. We had the best day. So that was Friday, and then on Sunday we had a big family reunion thing when my daughter and wife came up with me, and we saw the rest of the family and brother and his kids and my parents and my nan and all that. So it was just really lovely. So, but yeah, so let's get into it. So very little people commenting, hey, up here. So someone's saying here, Gaki's Toy Box, let's go. Let us go, brother. Thank you very much for running by and saying hello. First of all, I want to talk about a bit of film news. Obviously, this news was drowned by the arrival of the actors' strike and writers' strike, but we got our first official look of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So this is the him on set with Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, in Deadpool 3. Now, I'm assuming you saw this doing the rounds. What did you think to it?
Oh, like anyone is, I don't read comics anymore, but as a kid growing up in the comics, yeah, this is exciting. It's not just the suit for me; it's more, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds finally together. I mean, the banter that they have, the close relationship. I don't know how long he's going to be in this suit. It could be a joke like he normally does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the AI generated suit. I quite liked that. It's felt more cinematic. It was kind of, it wasn't comic related, but listen.
I think I did see something doing the rounds, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I love Deadpool. I love the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned, not concerned, because Ryan Reynolds, what's the phrase? On the cuff, he makes up stuff for the movies.
Improvises,
so stuff that's improvises. So he does that. I don't think he's allowed to do that for this because of the
well, obviously now the actor strike's happening, so basically it's shut down production, so we won't have this for a while. So basically Hugh Jackman has to stay in shape for the next few months, for as long as it's going to be until they can start filming again. But yeah, with the writer's strike, because he does a lot of improvisation, obviously he's wearing a mask, they can ADR with it afterwards. So they were able to do something later on and get like a little workaround. But yeah, I like this a lot. I like that it looks amazing. It looks, I thought it looked ridiculous. I hope he's not wearing the mask. But I think it looks great. They're obviously going to have a little fight at some point. There's some on-set footage of those two fighting each other. And I think basically Deadpool's just going to go through all the way through the Fox universe, just basically trying to take people out and stuff like this. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But I think as long as it doesn't affect the legacy of Logan, which is obviously going to be set a lot later, I'm happy with that. It's just nice to see. This will kind of appease a lot of the fans and the 90s animated fans as well, because I bloody loved that back in the day. Yeah. So yeah, I've actually got Peter on the other line. Welcome on board. How you doing, buddy?
Hi everybody. Sorry I'm late. I do apologise.
Don't worry. You were streaming. It's okay.
I was doing a little show with a comic book writer called John Lees, who's from up Scotland, writes a good horror book called Sink. So yeah, been
very fun. Nice, very nice.
Apology accepted, Peter. Apology accepted.
I humbly submit my apologies to the panel.
Nice. Do not worry.
Nice to see you again.
Great.
Yeah, you too, bud.
So it's little reunion here.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and it's actually quite nice that. It's quite nice that there's other people that can understand everybody's accent here. So.
I was going to say, we've got a guy from Yorkshire, a Geordie, and a Scot. So
there's a joke there somewhere, isn't there? That's like the start of a joke.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Pete, you got to see this picture of Hugh Jackman. What did you think to this?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Really excited. But I mean, I love the Deadpool movies anyway. I love Hugh Jackman. Just great to see him in the yellow costume. And I have no doubt, I mean, I'm sure you have already said it, the ideas that pop into your mind about hot toys that might be coming our way immediately kind of get us excited, you know?
Oh, yeah. They're gonna just go all in on this one. This is hopefully going to be the end game that we all need for the Fox cinematic universe, because that's going to be dead after this anyway. Because obviously this is his first MCU appearance, so to be all meta and Ryan Reynolds, he's going to go all in and kill off the Fox universe. Maybe that might be a thing.
Well, and did you see the image of the Fox logo behind them in the rubble?
I did. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting, very meta as per Deadpool. But yeah, so obviously this has been delayed. There's going to be a lot of delays now due to the writers' strike and also the actors' strike. So for everyone who doesn't know out there, the actors went on strike Friday, I think it was Thursday or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, any people who were doing any kind of press for their films had to just walk off the red carpet and stand in unity with the rest of the actors. So this is going to, hopefully they get resolved soon, but it might be a long time before we get much new content out there. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it works out okay. But it's the thing is, you will start feeling the effects of it. We'll start seeing a few more bits of reality TV instead of actual quality television, and same with movies. So I'm hoping that's not the case, or they're just loads of reruns. So so that might be a possibility as well. But I just wanted to as well say quickly hello to the people that James T. Hello, buddy. Ayo.
Ayo.
Yeah. And then he said, halted filming until after strikes will probably benefit the movie in the end. Hopefully so. A lot of films did suffer during the writer's strike, including Quantum of Solace back in the day, where they had to write a few of the bit of the story, and that didn't work out very well for them. But yeah, so hopefully they don't half-arse it and they actually get the quality out there. And obviously they're really worried about AI, which is timely for what we're talking about today. And which is quite fun. That's a big jug of cordial you've got there, Pete.
It's lovely. It's, you know what? I've just tried. This is Thatcher's Blood Orange Cider.
Oh, nice. Sounds very nice. I'll have to look at that when I'm back off the wagon. And,
I actually feel quite bad. I've got a wine as well. Sorry.
Oh, you're very posh. Yeah, you've got a nice glass of wine there. Yeah.
It's actually Buckfast, Peter.
Yay. My lovely wife Katie, who from tomorrow I will have known for 9 years.
Wow.
So meeting. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. She's a lucky lady. She says, "Hi, hope you're so glad it went. It was third time lucky after the despair of Flash and Indy." Absolutely. I said at the beginning of my intro, I was almost losing hope with the state of Hollywood. This was before the actors' strike, but I was like, Jesus Christ, what is even going on? But it's quite funny, because there are some similarities with this film that we're talking about today and Indy, which is quite funny. There's a plucky new arrival who's a brunette, who's very similar to the lead character. A scene on a train. There was a possible beginning part where there was going to be a de-aged character, and so there's a lot of similarities. And there's also two pieces of a MacGuffin to put together to make an event. So those little things like that is quite funny to me. But obviously, this film did it fantastically. Well, the other one, Indy, did atrocious. But again, just my opinion, not to trigger anybody. James T says, "Cruise Control always delivers." He says, "Well, except for The Mummy and Night and Day, which was also atrocious, which was done by James Mangold." So anyway, so I would just want to quickly say what I'm hoping to do next Tuesday, because I'm hoping to do this every week, whether it be a new film or a movie news stream. Next week, we're going to be doing Oppenheimer. So if anybody wants to join me on that one, you are more than welcome. But yeah, if you can join next week, and we'll be talking about Oppenheimer. Should be nice and light.
It's a cheerful story. It's a
cheerful story of one man who splits an atom and just changes the course of the world history.
I mean,
it should be good.
From what I hear, not a lot of laughs. Not a lot of laughs in that one.
Not a lot of quips on that one, but it should be a very, very good film. So, quickly, Peter, before we carry on, tell me about your last two streams, because you've been interviewing quite a few people, haven't you?
Yeah, so I mean, I do my mates give us a bit of jip. I do a lot of live shows and things like that. I do a Saturday show, which is always good fun. This week we're talking about overrated movies. So people were kind of putting their suggestions forward for films they think are overrated, which was quite interesting. And then the last 2 nights I've been doing my This Is My Show, which I'd love to get you both on. Rich, I know we've got a date. Where basically we do an interview with the individual. We ask them questions. What's your favorite movie, favorite hero, stuff like that. And then in between those questions, you show with things from your collection. So it can be anything you want, any element of your collection you want to show off. And it's just about getting to know people a bit. So I did John Lee's tonight, which was great fun.
Well, I look forward to watching that on the replay.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Before we go any further, please subscribe to Triple G Comics and on YouTube and Instagram. And we've also got my buddy here, Agent Silver Fox, on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Reviews with Rich, on Instagram and YouTube, where this is the trilogy now of things what I'm doing. I'm doing a instant review, I'm doing a vlog, and I'm doing a film club, which is, I'm very much enjoying that. So if you guys did not chance to get to see it, haven't got a chance to see it, did a review, instant review coming out of the film. And also I did a vlog where it's me going to the film, my aftermath, and my thoughts afterwards as well. So I really very much enjoy doing those now. So that's my format going forward for the films. I think that are gonna, like Oppenheimer, I don't know how much I'm going to do a vlog on that one, because as I said, it might be a bit of a Debbie Downer, but it should be a very, very good film. I'm very much looking forward to that. Before we go any further, what's everybody's favorite Christopher Nolan film?
Dark Knight.
I was going to say I should reserve this for next week. Really, should I? Dark Knight.
Dark Knight for me. I struggle with some of Christopher Nolan's films, I have to say. Tenant, Dark Knight for me.
That was a rough one. I was going to say, for me, I absolutely adored The Prestige.
Oh, I love I do like The Prestige.
The Prestige, Inception, and Dark Knight are like my top 3 from them anyway. And it's fantastic, absolutely perfect films. I also really like the one he did with Robin Williams and Al Pacino. I forgot top of my head. In Insomnia.
Oh yeah.
If anybody hasn't seen that yet, that's a really good one.
Because around that time, Robin Williams did a couple of, because there's that one, is it 1 hour photo booth? I think he did as well, which were quite serious.
Yeah. So it's he went all in on those two. My wife said, I thought you said Barbie, lol. Not a bloody chance. Not a bloody chance am I seeing that film. My God. There's a lot of hype behind both of those films. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with that. There's a lot of marketing going on, I think, just to try and get people bums on seats to make it cool to go and see those films. But we're going to talk about today Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. So before we go much further, what's been your guys' experience of Mission Impossible? Have you always liked them? Have you gone up and down with them? What's been your traditionally your thoughts with them?
Yeah, for me, Rich, I grew up, so I watched the TV series reruns as a kid. And it's the theme tune it's there. So I love the spy element, the thriller, the action, even from back in those days. I've got fond memories of lying on the floor with my mum behind me and my granny and just watching these reruns, the old school, this stuff. So I've grew up with Mission Impossible. I love that aspect. And the reason I love it is because it's believable.
Yeah.
Right? So back then, there's no CGI. And that's what I love about the new movie, without talking into it, or the new movies. There's very little CGI. There's a lot of live action, right? And that's what I love about Tom Cruise. So, but I'm all in on the Mission Impossible. I love the action. I love how it's done. So, yeah, love it.
How about you, Pete?
Much the same as Ian. I mean, I remember watching these TV shows on a Sunday morning when I was staying over at my Nana and Grandad's, and watching the old. And I think I mentioned last week on the show, there's something for me about music and theme tunes, and when that music kicks in, I get excited, but like the Indiana Jones music, you know, with Mission, for whatever reasons, they've played with the theme tune now and then, and they've tried to jazz it up, and I just want the theme. I don't want it all bells and whistles. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm a big fan of the franchise. The first movie I fell in love with.
Yeah,
the practical effects are stunning. A lot of people criticize the second movie, but I quite enjoy the second. I can't think of any.
It's very
it's very John Woo. Yeah,
yeah.
but in all honesty, there's none of the movies in this franchise that I come away thinking that's a stinker. I take something from all of them, I think.
Yeah,
and whether that's even just, you know, as you said, even if that's just the practical element of it having one great set piece, I'm happy with that almost. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. I love them. This for me is what Bond should have been. And at one point, Bond, the Daniel Craig movies, I think, are superb. But at one point, the Pierce Brosnan kind of era, it started to deviate away from practical effects to go to CGI.
Yeah,
lost something, you know.
Yeah, he definitely tried to follow a trend, I think, and tried to make it a bit cooler than what it should have been, a bit more grounded. And I think, yeah, Pierce Brosnan's his reign started so strong with GoldenEye, and then just went downhill from there, which is such a shame. But yeah, I'm the same with you guys. Really. I mean, not so much with the original TV show. I never really saw very much of it. It was on reruns and stuff like that. We were younger, but I never really got a chance to see it very much. But Tom Cruise, he's my favorite movie star, and he's such a bloody legend anyway. So obviously I gravitate to those movies anyway. And this is obviously his first film that he produced. The first Mission Impossible in this franchise has evolved so much. It's started as individual installments with different directors and different visions every single episode, every single film. From De Palma to Woo to J.J. Abrams, Brad Bird. And then the fact that now Chris McQuarrie has introduced a through line through the last few has been really, really important. And I think by doing that, you're more invested in the support characters and Ethan's journey as well. And I think that's really important. But I absolutely love these films. And I think with what you guys are saying as well, that the practical element to this as well is just so important, because you really, really feel it. And this film's no exception. Right. So with a budget of 290 million. Yes. Which obviously this was filmed during the pandemic. It had to be delayed quite a few times. And then at one point it was going to be released in 2021. And then they had to delay it again. And then at one point it was supposed to release last year. And they're supposed to release in last year, part 1 and part 2 this year. But then they got delayed and everything. So eventually they have now released it. The original idea was for them to film it back to back, but instead what they've done is they've started filming quite a few of the parts for part 2, including a lot of the stunts and everything, one of which they have not done their biggest ever stunt yet, apparently. So obviously there's some stunts with Cruise on a biplane, and he's you might have seen those behind the scenes photos, and that's for part 2. So yes, so it's going to be very much an interesting journey for Ethan Hunt. I think the next one is going to be his last. Everyone's talking in the background. Interstellar. James T said you might be open to doing a Star Wars film. I think he would have to be very careful, about Christopher Nolan with the current Star Wars regime. Be very careful there. Interstellar, very good. Sean, hello panel and chat. Hello Empire Strikes. Are you all right? And then here we go. He's saying to everybody as well, hello. That's very nice. So with a somewhat difficult production, this film has now hit our cinemas. It is made already internationally 235 million, which is pretty damn good internationally. And obviously, I think it's got some serious legs because it's like 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think it's very similar to Top Gun Maverick. It'll have some legs and have more and more people going to be seeing that. And it's such a big film. I know you've seen it twice, Ian, already. Did you find it on the second go around? Did you manage to take in a bit more of it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's one of those ones because it's so action packed. It's the first time I seen it was when it first came out on the Monday, and I text you, right,
Mm.
and I was like, yeah, it's blockbuster level for me. It's blockbuster level, and it's so action packed. And I thought it was like an hour and 20 minutes movie. And there was a lot going on. But there was certain dialogue I didn't take in at the time. It's maybe me, but I didn't take in. But what I normally do is I'll always see certain movies twice. So I'll go see it myself, and I'll go see it with Lucy if she wants to see it. But sometimes I'll maybe see it myself twice. So we saw it. I went to see it with Lucy the second time. Took in a little bit more, but there's a couple of things that I still didn't grasp. But loved it. Honestly, loved it. Great.
Yeah, it is fantastic. It is fantastic. It's for me. There was some elements I was like, bloody hell, I'm gonna have to try and remember as much as I can in this because obviously there's so much to follow. But I mean, what a bloody film. What a fantastic film. I am so glad that it's released when it's been released. I'm so glad that it's got the reception it's gotten as well. I saw it in IMAX. For those again instead to see the vlog, I saw it in IMAX, and this was the first time I'd seen a film in IMAX since Dark Knight Rises. So it'd been a while. So seeing it on that massive screen was really, really impressive. Obviously, with this production, obviously it was over delayed, and at one point Tom Cruise had to rent a private yacht for all the crew to stay on, so they could stay isolated. This was filmed during the pandemic, so it was obviously very, very difficult to do a lot of the stunts and stuff like that, and a lot of the even dialogue scenes without too much interference, and that's why a lot of it was shot the way it was shot as well. But I think they did a fantastic job. Obviously, there was an instance where there was a rant that was leaked online as well, where Tom Cruise had basically had a go at two guys who had basically been breaking a lot of the rules within that period of time. And obviously it was very difficult at the time because obviously a lot of pressure and a lot of money on the line as well. And at one point they didn't know what they were going to do in terms of production or even the budget because it was spiraling out of control. Yeah. And they didn't know if they were going to be able to carry on with it, which thank God they did. So the first thing they did when they started production, really the first day of filming, they did the biggest stunt in cinematic history, which was the jump. And I've got a little clip.
Pretty much the biggest stunt in cinema history. Tom Cruise just rode a motorcycle off a cliff 6 times today.
Bloody hell.
Mental.
Absolutely incredible. That scene is different level. I wish they hadn't shown it so much.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if they'd have not shown it as much in the marketing material, I think it would have had more impact because you're like, yeah, I've seen what's going to happen now. But I am just, it doesn't take it away from how bloody impressive it is. That man is 61 years old. It's unbelievable. He's 20 years older than me, and he's doing so amazing. He's doing all these stunts. He's putting his life on the line, literally putting his life on the line. Because there could have been a gust of wind. He could have smashed into side of the cliffs and all this kind of stuff. I have no idea what he's going to do next because what he does is just so impressive. obviously I saw that reaction from you both as well. Do you agree with that, what I said about the fact that you kind of seen that already?
Yeah,
Rich, see for me, I was talking to Lucy about it, and it's probably hindsight, but everybody loved when they done that short documentary for his jump, because we all know that he does these stunts. He's amazing, right? He's the biggest star in Hollywood ever.
Yeah.
What they should have done, in my opinion, was had the box office weekend. Everybody knows he does the majority of his stunts, and then because Mission Impossible's a slow burner in box office.
Yeah.
Right? It's showing stats. What they should have done right after the box office weekend showed how it was done, and then pulled everybody else back in for two reasons. One, the fundamental fact of doing that, and two, Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out this weekend. And just went, there you go.
Yeah.
For me, that's what they should have done.
I agree. And I think they should, I don't know if anyone else thinks the same, but I seriously think that marketing material should cut off from the second act onwards, should not show anything else from the third act. The fact that the train sequence again was also shown in the trailers, it jumping off the end of the line and then being caught and all this stuff. Again, that was not taking anything away from the film, but it's just, I think, as way that they now market films, they have to be very, very, very careful, because sometimes it's just catered for people just to get them in on the first weekend, and that's all that they care about. But for, like you said, Ian's like, they want to get this long burn of just like people coming in and seeing it more and more and more. And I think they will repeat viewing because, like I said, it is such a big, dense film, and I think it's obviously it's important, and it's going to be it's a fantastic thrill ride as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing it again. But I do think Oppenheimer and Barbie's going to take some of the chunk out of the box office, which is a shame.
Very different kinds of films, but I mean, in terms of audience, do you know what I mean? I can't imagine. Well, Oppenheimer, I'm interested in, but I can't imagine it catching kind of a certain generation's interest. Do you know what I mean? They're more for the action-orientated movies, I would imagine.
And it's not an opening weekend. I need to see Oppenheimer because I want to be spoiled. He builds a bomb. That's a spoiler.
I absolutely agree with you both, mind. And I think this is something I'm starting to find myself get irritated about, is that there's so much seen in the trailers now that there's very little surprise in a film. I used to love that shock element, you know?
Yes.
I don't get that anymore for a lot of stuff.
No, I used to just watch one trailer, and then anything else, TV spots or anything, I would just literally just ignore it. But you can't help but see it now because it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube, it's on adverts, it's everywhere. But I think long term, I'm gonna have to start doing that more and more, because I think films like this, I mean, bearing in mind those stunts, even if they weren't in this film is still stunning. And the story and the set pieces, everything to do with it, and the character development and everything, this is worth the ticket price alone without all the stunt stuff as well. That's the thing for me as well. It's like I've thought about this film more since I saw it on Friday than I have done most films in the last year. And that for me is truly how I enjoy films now. So obviously I see it at the cinema, I think about it, I talk about it, and then I'm still thinking about it. Oh wow, that bit, that was amazing, and I read a lot about it, and I obviously talk to my friends about it as well on shows. So it's kind of it's really it's a testament to the size and the scope of this film. And I do think if they really stick the landing, which I think they will on the next part, I do think this franchise is going to be regarded as a real classic in the future. I really do. Before we go any further, I just want to quickly, there's a couple of people in the chat. So everyone's saying, I hope everyone's talking about having a drink. Cruz said he'll do it till he's 80. I think he said he wants to make films till he was 80. But I do think part 2 is going to be his last one. Yeah, even going up that ramp is dangerous. Yeah, it is. If it had come off that ramp, he would have seriously hurt himself. Can't remember a movie that hasn't gone through some best parts of the show in the trailer. Yeah. To be fair, the villainous force in the movie was completely hidden in the trailer, and I thought it was really surprising. Yes, shall we talk about Gabriel? And shall we talk about the entity? Now, the entity, for those, right, we're going to talk about full spoilers here. So if those people have not seen Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, come back, watch the film, come back, and you can watch this on the replay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the entity. Now, the entity essentially is AI, which is very, very timely. The fact that obviously with everything that's going on with ChatGPT and everything else that's going on, this is a very real possibility that one day something like this could actually happen. So the future wars could be over artificial intelligence, or Skynet-esque could be taken over. So that's a real possibility. But I thought this was really, really clever. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they go with it. And obviously we have Gabriel from, he was in Ozark. I don't know if you guys remember him. So he was there as it's kind of the angel Gabriel, obviously, there's the biblical references there as well. So first of all, what did you guys think to the fact that the bad guy and the MacGuffin, as it were, is AI? What did you think to that?
I mean, you mentioned Skynet there. I got very strong Skynet vibes from it. But I loved it. It's so topical. You know, I know you said that this was kind of filmed a couple of years back. It's come out really in the perfect time in terms of
perfect time.
On AI. Now, don't shoot us down. My only criticism of this movie, and I don't know if maybe it leans into some of what Ian was saying earlier, was I did think the start needed to explain an awful lot to my little simple brain, and there was, you know, that big room scene with them all standing around, and each person kind of had this is the bit of the plot you need to know. Now I'm going to move on to the next character. This is because it was quite complicated, if I'm honest. But then Mission Impossible films often are, so I forgave it, because once the action started, it was phenomenal. But I did feel that I think if had I taken my 15-year-old son, he might have struggled to kind of follow what was going on at points. You know.
No, I agree. I think the way that they, at first, I was like, oh, is this how everybody's going to talk? It's like they're going to go, that person's going to talk, and then they're going to stop talking, and then the camera's going to go to someone else, and then they're going to say their bit, and it's like they've kind of chopped up some script and went, you'll have this bit, you'll have that bit, you can have this, and we'll move the camera on you. And it sounded like that at one point, but the delivery was what it was.
But I guess we don't know. You know, you mentioned that this was filmed during COVID. That might have been the element of them not even being in the room.
I think they might have had something to do with that. I thought it was a very strange delivering of that information, I think. But obviously, the submarine, I saw that coming. But that was really, really clever. So essentially, the source code was put on that submarine by the US government to basically track the submarine, because the submarine was a stealth submarine. I thought initially that the submarine was using the AI technology to become stealth, but apparently that's what they said later on in the film, that's more that they put it on there to test it out and to see what their capabilities were. But it's very interesting. And I think, like you said, very, very topical. The fact that it was filmed and written like 2019, 2018, and released now is just it is very, very clever how they've done that. And with everything that's happening at the moment, I think it's very, very topical. What do you think to Gabriel? Do you think he's being guided by the AI, or is he delusional? What's your thoughts on that one? Oh, dead air.
I was being polite to letting Ian go.
Right.
You know me with a loaded question. Go on.
This is one of my two queries I've got on this film. One is that very fact that you've just said. The second is, how did the entity get off that submarine.
Well, it didn't. It's still on the submarine. It was already in the internet. It was already out there, but it's now become more self-aware, and the source code is on the submarine. So if you can get to the source code, which is the original, then it means that you can then control it. But that entity is already out there. So the US government made it. It went out of control. It became self-sufficient and self-aware. And then it started influencing a couple of things here and there, social media, bits of government, bits of news here and there. And then obviously all of the governments were after this thing. And then they found out that this key, which obviously was on the sub, I'm not going to try and pronounce that name of it, was on the sub. So they're all trying to get to this, to get this key. Essentially, that's why. Did I answer your question?
But it went rogue. It went rogue on the Sestapal, right? The submarine.
Mm-hmm.
That's where. So before they planted it, right? So this is good. This is a good dialogue, I think. So they planted it, but it went rogue actually in the sub.
Yes.
It didn't go rogue before. They only talked about it being rogue after it blew up the submarine.
I think so. What do you think, Pete?
I stopped thinking about it at that point because it was hurting my head too much. Because, like Ian's saying, it was getting. I think for me, this was the point where it was getting a bit too complicated, and in the end, I just went with bad robot. Do you know what I mean? Because it was getting too complicated, and I just wanted to see Tom Cruise jumping off stuff.
Is this a classic? Is this a classic case that McCaury writes? So I've read about this. He writes as the action goes, and which I quite like. It's quite dynamic writing. So, and maybe the actor's strike, he's got time to fill in some of the holes that maybe I see, or it's maybe my brain. And part two will fill in some questions I've got, maybe, or maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know, but
no, I think they will basically answer all, because bear in mind this is part 1 of 2. They're not going to essentially it's like very much like Dune, how they've cut them in half. It's not a complete story. It's just half of a story. So it's that's why they didn't end it on a cliffhanger, and which we'll talk about. But it's quite difficult to get your head around a little bit about, because I don't think I fully get it 100%, but I think I know enough about it to appreciate it. But I heard a theory that Gabriel, because how is he getting the information? Because I know he's got that watch, but how is he getting that information? And apparently there's a theory that I haven't seen the season, but season 3 or 4 of Westworld, there's a guy who's been fed this information via an earpiece.
Right.
So he's being fed this information via AI, which in theory could be how he's getting that information. So that's quite interesting, and obviously ties to Ethan Hunt's past as well, this Gabriel. So what I kind of hinted on earlier was that they'd put together a 25-minute de-aged scene of this Maria getting killed by Gabriel, and a de-aged Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, chase him down. So they showed that picture, and there was a little bit of flashback. It was all in the dark and stuff. So the original idea was to put that amount of time on a de-aged sequence, which essentially is the origin story of Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible franchise, because he was framed for a murder he didn't commit, which was of Maria. It turns out that Gabriel did that. So did Gabriel know that this was going to be the beginning of Ethan Hunt? He kind of made him via a very primitive version of the entity, or was it just some scumbag who shot his missus and somehow got into being a mercenary? So that's interesting as well. Yeah. So the reason why they took that out was because Christopher McQuarrie said that he didn't feel fully invested in it, because he would just be kind of seeing a de-aged Tom Cruise, and that's what the audience would see, rather than this is an important story. So that's why they took it out. But I thought that would have been quite interesting.
I like the idea, But judging on what we've just seen on Indiana
exactly,
Jones,
yeah. Well, that's why I
don't
kind of
give
hinted
us-
on that as well. Yeah,
don't give us de-aged stuff, just because it just detracts from the story if it's not done well.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is as well, this cost the same as Indy, which is insane to me.
Really?
It cost the same as Indy. Indy was 300 million. This was 290, so pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Well, 10 mil, but yeah. So it's just insane to see what they did with the budget and what these guys did with the budget and how different it looks on the screen as well. So I just thought it was interesting.
Rich, see, to be honest, I don't think you need to do a de-age. I've been thinking about this, and more so while we've been talking, especially with what you two guys have been bringing up. This could have been 3 parts. This could have been Dead Reckoning Part 2, and they could have filled in the backstory and then brought it to the end on a Part 3. I think this arc's massive. They could have done that. That's what I think.
There's still a chance they might do more of that in the second part, because no doubt they'll have filmed it. It's still there, I'm assuming. So, and hopefully by that point the technology will be there to be absolutely spot on, because it might look a bit rough if not. But yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting viewpoint on that, and the fact that how it does tie into to being part of his story.
Do you know how good it was though that Gabriel, how they put it back and had that little flashback? I don't know if anybody else was the same. I've seen all the movies, some of them a long time ago. I was thinking, I can't remember seeing him.
Yeah, I was the same. Yeah.
Have I missed something?
Yeah.
So I had to go back. And it's so that bit, it done well, it pulled you in that little bit.
Yeah.
But he's not there in the backstory. And I thought, that's quite good.
Yeah. It was never hinted at. He was never, because obviously he was saved from prison. And given the choice, which is what they talk about all the way through this film. So it was never really shown what actually happened and why he was arrested, but this is the reason why. Go on, Pete. You're gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I'm with you. I always see these films, and God help us, the Fast and Furious films, with 2 of my mates. So we've seen them all together, all these years, and I nudged them in the side at that scene. And I was saying, I'm getting on. Have I forgotten something? It's that long since we've watched the start of this franchise. Have I missed this? And he was like, I don't know. So it kind of rippled down the 3 of them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. Empire Strike says, was she in Wolverine? If you're talking about this lady here, this is Mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, please, let's talk about her. Awesome.
Yes, she was very good, wasn't she?
Can I just say, right? So, Richard, I don't want to jump in too much, but
it's all right.
I know you
full name already. So that's already.
I want to compare. I want to compare and contrast with Indiana Jones, right? Which had a lot of flaws, right? But I loved it, right? But it had a lot of flaws. Pom here, I thought was amazing. She had so little dialogue, but her facial expressions, man, I want to see her in so much more movies in this type of thing. Jeez, listen, she would come home, I'd be cleaning the house, I'd be cooking her dinner. Like, listen, I was shit scared of her. I thought she was awesome. She was awesome. I thought the difference in casting from this movie to Indiana Jones is crazy. So at that point, I want to get on to Hayley Atwell, who I don't want to talk negatively of the other female character on Indiana Jones. See, the first time I seen this, I was like, there was about 2 minutes in with Hayley Atwell, and I thought, wow, she would have been the perfect cast in Indiana Jones.
She would have.
Just my opinion.
No, you're right, Ian. So, I mean, we talked about it on the Indiana Jones show. The I can't remember the lady's name who played the kind of the sidekick to Indy.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
irritated the I didn't like her. I just did not like her. Hayley Atwell, I love anyway, but she was just perfect in this. You know, she was absolutely every scene she was in. I loved her. You know,
but you could see that Hayley Atwell in that character would sit so well in the Indiana Jones arc.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought she's classy.
Mm-hmm. She's got a timeless nature to her. I think the good thing is with the casting of this one is the fact that she was. They always say, "Oh, they're Ethan Hunt's equal or Indiana Jones' equal," or this kind of like. No, they can just be a character. They can be a well fleshed out character. They don't have to be whatever. I'm not getting all political about it. But it's kind of, they don't have to be this. They don't have to be that. They can just be a character, whether it's female or male or whatever, and they can just be a strong character. And she's incredibly likable anyway. She's great, and obviously Captain America. But she is such a good actress, and she's likable, and also as well there were a few things that she did better than Ethan Hunt, but Ethan Hunt was still the lead. He was still the hero. She was a part of it. She wasn't there groomed to replace him or him to be like an old man and then her to go, well, I'm going to do all the action kind of stuff. It was amazing.
Just contrasting, Rich, and I don't know if you've got a scene later on, but Indiana Jones and this had similar kinds of narrative scenes. So we had the car chase kind of thing going downstairs. Look at the difference between Indiana Jones and this in terms of just the car chase. It was absolutely night and day. You know, beautiful effects. The pair of them interchanging as to who's driving, and it was just it was flawless.
You know why? Because they actually did it. They actually did it. That's the reason why. And I've got a clip which will show you how they did it and what they did, because it just shows you can see the rig that they've got, all the cameras and them driving, and you feel it when you're watching it at the cinema. You know that Tom Cruise is driving, not a stunt man. It's not CGI. It's not green screen, everything. It's actually them driving. Let's have a look.
Yes, they are. You're driving.
Tom had to drive one-handed cuffed, for real. No cheating it.
The key is, don't crash.
Who is that person?
I have no idea.
Tom is driving and drifting one-handed through the streets of Rome. That was the day I will never forget.
Trying to do drifts every time you think you're going in one direction. It's the cobblestones on the street say, no, you're not, you're going this way. We gotta get rid of this car.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. Just watching that, even the behind the scenes, it's like, that's 10 times better than anything they did in Indy. It's just, I don't mean to kick Indy because I feel bad. By the way, it's going to be one of the biggest bombs of all time for Disney, apparently, which is really sad.
It's sad.
It's sad. But anyway, so Mission, that scene was fantastic. I think the fact that they did it real life as well, that they actually were handcuffed as well doing it, and he drove a car one-handed, like the guy said there. It's just stuff like that. It's testament to the amount of heart and passion that Tom Cruise puts in. And also as well, he's aware of what the audience want and what they don't want as well. He knows there's so much reliance on CGI and performance capture and all this, where people are feeling numb. I'm feeling that way myself, feeling numb, going to the cinema and watching stuff, and you're like, I don't feel any of this. And I have felt like that of late.
No, me too.
Really, like the CGI fest of The Flash, and it was a mess. We haven't done a film club about The Flash. I think that could be quite interesting. Me kicking it for an hour and a half. But it's fucking awful.
Let's do this. Let's do The Flash.
Let's do it. Let's do The Flash instead of Oppenheimer. Maybe Oppenheimer.
Listen.
Let's do The Flash. Let's do The Flash. Should we do The Flash next week?
I'll do
news travels
The Flash.
Yeah.
Right.
This
Everybody who's watching now, come
movie.
back to the steaming pile of shite that is The Flash. Come and talk about it next week. But in the meantime, Mission Impossible.
Rich, see, you talked about that scene in Rome, the car, and that's what took me back to when I first seen that, it was like the original Italian Job, that car chase scene.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. But they gave it a modern dynamic where you've got Pom Clementif. I thought she was amazing. Okay, she's an assassin. You should be quiet, like ninja style and all this stuff. I love the dynamic that she gave her. She's in this big truck.
Yeah.
Giving it her facial expression.
Yeah.
Oh my! Honestly, I absolutely loved her.
Yeah, me too.
I think she's amazing. I want to see her in so many more action movies. She's awesome.
Adored the scene where he is running towards Elsa, and then he hears Benji on his earpiece, and obviously it's the AI telling him he needs to go left and right, and it takes it to Paris, who was Pom Clement. And she's fighting him in such a close little narrow alleyway. That was stunning. I absolutely love that. And how they were fighting, the way it was shot, just fantastic. And she's got like a bit of a Joker / Harley Quinn feel to her. So I thought that was good. She's less annoying than Harley Quinn. But yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting how they did that. And but I thought a particular scene that really stood out to me was in Italy. So they'd had the car chase, they'd gone to this auction where obviously they eventually met Gabriel. But the bit where Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, is running towards Elsa, and obviously this man's 61 years old, he is absolutely bombing it because how much he cares and how much he's putting his life on the line as a character on the line. And the music was building up when Elsa was fighting Gabriel on that bridge, knowing that something was going to happen to one of them. You knew who it was possibly going to be because you saw the trailer of Hayley Atwell in the third act on the train, which is a shame because if you'd known, then you might not have thought that, because obviously he predicted one of the ladies were going to die. But that moment was just so heartfelt and so amazing how they did that. I actually had I had proper goosebumps. I really felt that. I thought that was stunning. I just genuinely thought that was just a little aside. I thought that all of that sequence, that could have been a film on its own. Just that level of craftsmanship that they put into it. I think that their working relationship, Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie, is absolutely second to none. They obviously know each other very well and know how each other work. But like what you were saying, Ian, I said it on my vlog, but what they tend to do is they film a lot of the big set pieces or the big stunts, and then they piece it together with the rest of the film. But say for this, obviously it's intrinsically tied to the story, say for this particular scene. But yeah, so it is very, very interesting how they did put this together. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But what was it saying?
Stunning.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. So, was there a particular character that stood out for you, apart from obviously Hayley Atwell in this and Pom Clementif?
For me, I think the casting's great on this. And again, I don't want to be a fanboy, but Tom Cruise has obviously got a huge amount of say. And listen, he's the biggest star, Hollywood star ever, right?
Yeah.
And I'm, for one, I've grew up with him. First movie I seen Tom Cruise was Risky Business. It was coming of age with me, right? I was 12, whatever. So I've grew up with him. I've certain movies that was close with people that teenage years that have died, and it's very poignant for me, and I understand why there's some people that don't like him. Understand that. This guy is a powerhouse. He's the biggest star in the world. His acting ability, Maverick, look at it. I looked at certain things in this movie, and you could see how he acts without saying something.
It's the best acting he's done, I think, in the whole of his career. I think this and Maverick is best. I truly believe that. is
He's
just
getting better and better, isn't
he really is as an actor. I mean, obviously he's always been a film star, but I
Mhm.
think his level of acting's really massively. I think ever since War of the Worlds and Collateral, he's very much upped his game more and more so with his level of acting and screen presence. Is just fantastic.
And he's a leader, right? You saw like the audio clip from the COVID period, right? Where he was berating people. But he commands respect from the production staff, the stuntmen, the actors. He talked recently about Scarlett Johansson, that he wants to do a movie with her. He really appreciates. I absolutely adore how he is in the movie world. I'm going off on a tangent now because I think he deserves a bit of chat.
Agree 100%. I mean, he's my favorite movie star. And he's one of my favorite people of all time. He's so incredibly likable. He puts so much in to what he does. He's written off a couple of times in Hollywood. And remember there was a time that they were trying to, at one point, groom to have Jeremy Renner take over from the Mission Impossible franchise. So they brought him in for Ghost Protocol for him to kind of take on the mantle. But then they ended up bringing Chris McQuarrie in to do some of the rewrites, and then that kind of changed a little bit as well. And obviously, what people like Tom Cruise more, hate to say it, but that's true. But yeah, and it's just he's an incredible, and he's also a film fan, and he loves cinema, and he wants the cinema industry to do better and to do well, and he's his own worst critic. The fact that he dedicates so much of his life to putting so much in for the audience and learning to fly and ride motorbikes and do so many parachute jumps and risk his life, like I said earlier. But I agree 100% with you, and I think there's not enough. I think there is now a bit more love for him, but I think there was a time when they were like, oh, Scientology, all that. It's like, so what? It just doesn't matter what anybody believes. People can believe whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? They can believe whatever. For me, I don't care. I don't follow any of it, so I'm just like, if
absolutely.
Then that's how you look at life. Then that's how you look at life, and that's how people have to start looking at things more and not write people off just because they believe this and that. It's ridiculous. But I think what he's done for cinema, obviously he has saved cinema in some way or another with post-COVID, because there was so much reliance. And I think that's what Hollywood has done as well, where they've dropped the ball quite considerably, where they've not invested enough in movie stars. They've invested too much in the IP. So they've invested too much in the Star Wars, in the Marvel, in the DC, and the superheroes and all this kind of stuff. Oh, where should we do this? Where should we do that? Oh, yeah, we'll go and mine out this and introduce these people, but not invest enough into the movie stars. And he's the only one that's left, really. There's no one else. Dwayne Johnson released a couple of duds. They've written him off, which is just ridiculous. He's still incredible. He's still an incredible, dedicated guy. Yeah, he plays himself 9 times out of 10, but he is a very likable guy, and he could be a very big movie star in the future. But there's not many movie stars left. He's the only
not
one
of that caliber.
Not that caliber. But because he's had such a long career as well, no one's given enough time to become a star like that. They're either written off because they've done a bad tweet, or they've said something out of turn, or they've got a whatever problem, and then suddenly they're no longer a massive star. Mel Gibson, prime example. One of the most talented actors and directors ever. He obviously had a demon. He had a drink problem. This is a bit of a rant, but it's true. He had a drink problem, and he said some stuff he shouldn't have said. He shouldn't have said it. But he had an addiction to alcohol, and that's what made him say a lot of the stuff he said. And because of that, he's written off, and he's doing straight-to-video stuff now, and he's an Oscar-winning director. It's such a shame. It is such a shame. It's not fair, really, in a lot of respects. But I think to go back to this, and to go back to the film, and to go back to Tom Cruise, I think for him, he's done a couple of missteps with what some stuff he has said or done, but he's never been fully written off. And I think he knows is the audience and people. He knows what people want, what they want to see, and they want to see real action. They want to see real story, and they want to see heart. So I think that's really impressive. That, sorry for the little rant there, but it's true. I genuinely, that's how I feel about it, and I think it is such a shame.
Rich, I think most people feel that same way.
Really?
I honestly do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate you saying that. So before we go any further, my dudes, sup everybody, Low Key Collector. Hey buddy, good to see you.
Hey Calvin.
Yeah, he's the Michael Jackson of acting.
Not sure.
Jesus Christ, let's not go down there.
Can I just add as well? Can I just add? I agree with everything you've just said about Tom Cruise in terms of his acting chops and his ability and all that. But I have to say, my most valuable player in this movie was Hayley Atwell. I thought she was phenomenal. Yeah. I thought that scene in the airport where they were bantering between themselves and she was lifting the keys and all that kind of. It was pitch perfect, you know.
Yeah, it was. It was,
and she can hold her own in terms of the action as well.
She can. Very physical and stuff as well. And I really, the bit where he did the sleight of hand with the key, that was real. He did that himself. So he did it over and over and over again. And I listened to an interview earlier today that he was doing the trick because he can do sleight of hand. And Christopher McQuarrie was like, I can still see the key. I can still. He's like, Jesus, like this. So he was getting more and more frustrated. So instead of just going and hiding it, he used that in the performance. So when he was doing it and he was getting quite frustrated because he was supposed to be nice and charming and everything, and he messed up, he kind of, that's how it came through in the performance. I thought it was quite interesting. But no, I thought she was very good. I think the bit where, and it's again played in the trailers, but when someone fires the gun and she does like this kind of thing, you feel it. You feel that that's like a real reaction to that, rather than just like the kind of thing. I thought it was quite impressive. So I want to just show you a little bit of a clip. I think I've got another one actually. Oh no, I've done them all. Oh, I thought I did one for the train. Oh, clipped out. I was going to show you the train. Now, this was shot for real on top of a train, 60 miles an hour. And they created a train from the get-go, and they built a train and they put it up in North Yorkshire at one point. And obviously they had it in Norway for this particular sequence as well. And then they had it in Derbyshire where they shot it off into a quarry, and which is how they filmed that. One of the things for me, even though it was shot for real and practically, did anybody else feel like it was I think maybe because it was shot on digital, it looked slightly not as authentic as it maybe should have done. Does anybody else feel that way?
Yeah. See, for me, exactly the same. I had this exact same chat with Lucy, and actually the jump from the cliff, the mountain in Norway on the bike, which was phenomenal. We've talked about that earlier on. The movie version didn't give me the same thrill as the real thing when you saw it being filmed.
Right.
You saw the ramp and all this stuff. So I felt, I don't know what, and maybe this is what it is, that the CGI element, the post-production didn't feel as good to me. It kind of felt fake, because Lucy's words to me, Rich, was, I've seen this thing too many times. And sorry to say, she went and said, she compared it to Indiana Jones, the really terrible CGI. And
I always like that woman as well. I have to write her off.
I was like, you can't compare it to that.
You can't. No, you can't compare it to that.
You can't compare it to that. But I think there's, and this is where we need to speak up, because where you've got these guys, and especially Tom Cruise, putting himself out there, live action, that's what we want to see. It's like the Marvel, right? The Winter Soldier, real live action that grips you. For me, it grips me, and that's what we want to see. So we want to dull down, and it's very pertinent, the AI and the CGI.
So for me, I think you're right. I think it did look a little bit, it looked out of place for some reason. I don't know. But I could forgive it.
Yes.
For me, my biggest not a big grumble, because not a big grumble, but my moan was that this felt quite realistic. The entire movie, there was nothing that I thought, oh, come on,
No,
that's ridiculous. But then we get to the bit where he, by accident, lands through the train, killing the bad guy and saving her. That was a bit kind of tongue-in-cheek. Oh, come on, that's he happens to have hit that exact point. Do you know what I mean? I kind of
think, I think, because not to be a complete apologist, I think sometimes you need a bit of levity in those kind of things to kind of like set your expectations and reality in at the door kind of thing. But I just thought that there was, even though, like I said, they shot this for real and that picture is real, they actually did that on top of the train. I just think some of the shots when they were fighting, because it was shot digitally with digital cameras instead of the 35mm, it felt less filmic and more, I don't know, it just didn't look as real as the rest of the film. But I don't know if it was lighting or if it's just the projection I saw it on. But I just thought that those little bits when they were fighting on top of the train, I just felt that bit.
You saw it IMAX, didn't you, Rich?
I did, yeah.
So I didn't. I saw it on a standard kind of screen. And it wasn't as jarring for me. So maybe it's the high definition detail or whatever.
Maybe.
It certainly didn't bring us out of it.
Oh no, definitely not. None of this film, none of anything in the film took me out of the movie itself. But it was just that thing. I just thought was worth a little observation.
Yeah.
So overall, we're going to talk about what we thought to the movie, and then we're going to talk about predictions for part 2. So, out of 5 or out of 10, how you want to do it, what would you give it, Ian?
I normally do out of 10, so I can divide by 2. But I know people have a challenge doing that. For me, it's equal with the best Mission Impossible movie for me, and that was Rogue Nation. So I will give it. I'm going to give it 8.5. If
typical Hot Toys response, that is, give it an 8.5.
If part 2 fills in certain things I want to fill in, that's definitely, I'm going to put it up, because part 2 has got a link to that. So, but right now, 8.5 for me, but it won't go lower. It's got the potential to go higher for me.
No, absolutely. No, I agree.
Higher.
What about you, Pete?
I don't want to feel like a copycat, but I have to say 8.5 was in my head as well. I loved this movie. I loved the action. I have to say, I think it picked up its pace after the initial kind of 20, 30 minutes or something. I loved the bit on the sub at the start. That was really, really good fun. I worried when we started getting the kind of the people talking in the room. I kind of thought, I thought the
same.
But then we're picked straight up after that. So I think, and once we got over that bit, it was non-stop. Like Ian was saying earlier, it was literally just action after action after action. Great scenes all the way through. And amazing performances. So for me, I think 8.5 is very fair. That's what I'll go with.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I think overall, this is on par with Fallout, which is my favorite Mission Impossible. I think, like you said, Ian, I think with the second one going to be coming out hopefully next year, I think those two combined as a complete movie will be a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10, however you want to put it. But I think, I think, to be honest, 9 out of 10. To be honest, for me, it's absolutely fantastic. I've not stopped thinking about it. It's given me a full new appreciation to this franchise as well, because I liked the last few. I've gone back and started watching it from Ghost Protocol, and I'm starting to go through them again. And I absolutely love them. And I'm actually going to go back and start watching from the beginning, because I've only seen the original, I think maybe twice.
I love the first one.
It came out nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. But yeah, no, it's great. Brian De Palma. And so for me, 9 out of 10. And I think it is a fantastic film, and I'm so bloody happy that it's come out saving the cinema for me, because I was really struggling at one point. Myself, and I don't know if you saw it on the vlog, but basically me and my brother, we talk a lot about the state of cinema and the state of movies, and how we were so like looking forward to these big films coming out and being let down so much. It was like, bloody hell, are we becoming more cynical, or is things getting shitter? And it just seemed like it was the latter. And obviously getting this one being released the way it was, and the timing of it was absolutely perfect for me. So I think that really helped. So predictions for part 2. What are you thinking? How are you thinking it's gonna end this particular? Do you think it's gonna end this franchise? Do you think it's gonna be like the little end game, or is it gonna just keep on going? And what do you think the next big stunt will be?
I don't think this is the end. I think Tom Cruise will keep making these movies as long as he can, because they're an amazing franchise, and it gives. Let's be honest, Tom Cruise is an adrenaline junkie. This franchise gives him an opportunity to do things that he wants to do. I was thinking about what the next big stunt is. I don't think, we've got the link to the submarine there. I don't think they've done any kind of deep sea diving stunt work or anything like that.
Oh, they haven't.
So something like that might be interesting. And I'm sure I heard the director say something about the only thing we haven't done is something space related. So I don't know if it's going to be satellite related or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be
he's doing a film after part 2 with Doug Liman, it is, who did Edge of Tomorrow.
I love that.
Where he's actually amazing film. But he's actually going to space. And they're actually filming in space for that one. So because
I was thinking, you see these guys, I can't remember what they're called, the where they literally drop them from the edge of the atmosphere, and you do that kind of a drop.
Jesus,
you know what I mean?
That was the Halo
jump.
Yeah, that's what he did in Fallout, wasn't it? He did something very similar to that.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
No, remember the guy that done Red Bull?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The Red Bull things. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. That could be. Yeah, maybe. I had a thought, because obviously the submarine thing, I think maybe a fight on the ice and then them falling through the ice, and then like maybe still fighting, or him swimming to something and like make sure he's like all in his breath and all that kind of stuff. That's like, that could be something. But it's got to be something massive. It's got to be something massive, because this one of the saying it's going to be like his biggest one yet.
Yeah, they did say, you've seen this, and the next one's bigger. So from what I've read, they've already filmed 2 of the big scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they filmed the biplane, where he's climbing on that. Because I think they're going to go analog. I think basically there's going to be a bit of a time jump, and I think the entity is going to have gone full on integrated into everything, looking for Ethan Hunt, and I think he's going to go analog. I think he's going to go biplane. He's not going to have like a Benji or a Luther in the background giving him advice, because then he knows they're going to be compromised. So I think he might be going more rogue than he normally is. I think he's going to go proper old school. So I think that could be quite interesting. And I think that kind of thing. So hence the biplane. That could be quite interesting. Which I think if they did that, I think that would be really cool. Like him going literally no tech, no masks, no nothing, just red light, green light, just some blow up chewing gum, and that's it kind of thing. That could be quite cool.
Yeah, but that's why the entity's scared of him, right? Because it's Ethan Hunt. It's just Ethan Hunt. That's why he's scared, or it's scared.
Yeah,
he's unpredictable. And I think that's going to be really, really 6 was a Halo jump. He said. James was saying they did the 6-minute underwater sequence in 5. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did that, but then they ruined it with the CGI arm that was going around. But that was interesting. But anybody else out there has your predictions for part 2? How it's going to go down? Do you think Gabriel's been given information? Do you think that's even his real face? Because he could be wearing a mask.
Okay, yeah.
Could be wearing a mask. He could be like, he could not be the Gabriel that Tom Cruise.
Are we going Terminator? Or we going he's a robot of some kind?
I think he's just another person wearing the face from his past.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm.
I would hate it to be his brother or his dad or kind of like well, they did that in Spectre. They're like, "Oh, I'm your stepbrother." It's like
Blofeld your brother or something.
Yeah, he was a stepbrother. Yeah.
But I like the character of Gabriel. I'd be quite happy if they just keep him as the bloke that killed him, killed his girlfriend. You know, that works for me.
Yeah. How do you think the death of Elsa came across? By the way, we didn't talk about that.
I'm actually gutted because I love her. I love Ferguson so much.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to see her death.
Yeah. Oh, well, we saw it twice, which I thought was I thought they did the fake out at the beginning and then they actually killed her. I think that was not a wise move. But no, she was really good. I thought she was a really good addition to the franchise. The bit when they're on the boat and he just put his hand on he held her hand and they're on the boat, and I just thought it was so heartfelt and so lovely. Before obviously they went into this party, obviously she died, but I thought that was important. I thought the Paris death was a fake out because obviously she ends up being alive at the end of it. She has a pulse. Obviously she's going to be in the second one, and she's obviously joining the team. She's obviously joining the IMF team as well, which would be very interesting. Yeah, so that should be a right little badass on her team, won't she? Yeah. Her and Hayley Atwell together would be quite good. How they interact as well. Yeah, there you go.
Rich,
yes.
I'm going to ask you a question. Would that pull you back into the 1/6 scale figure collecting?
If they release Ethan Hunt?
No, Pom and Hayley from that movie.
I'd have to have a Ethan Hunt. I can't just have two random women that I fancy. Fancy one more than the other, to be honest. But no, I think if they ever did a Top Gun Maverick or they did a really good Ethan Hunt one, I would 100% get that. I think that would be. I think they need to have something. I need to have something of Tom Cruise in my man cave a bit.
This is how. It blows my mind that we've not got a licensed Tom Cruise figure.
He won't give his license. So they've done some third parties. He won't do his license for any action figures, and it's rumored to be because he's very hung up about his height. And then obviously, if you give the license, it'll be to scale. I imagine. Yeah.
Don't matter.
I know, but I think from what I've read around Tom Cruise, he is exceptionally touchy about it for whatever reason. So that's why he won't give his license to people.
I was going to say, I mean, I would drop a few inches off my height to look like him in 20 years' time.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So or have his money. So no, it was wonderful. No, overall, fantastic. I think if we should do The Flash then next week, that's quite organically. Do you want to do The Flash next week?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Let's give it a kicking. Okay, let's do that.
If you invite me back on.
Anytime, brother, anytime. But so we'll wrap up from here. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching today. And thank you to my wonderful panelists. It's been a right good laugh. I've really, really enjoyed it. Pete, it's not this Thursday, it's next Thursday, isn't it, when I'm on your show?
I can't remember.
Next Thursday is then. Go ahead.
Next Thursday it is, yeah. Next Thursday. Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds
Go
good.
on. Subscribe to your channel. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've got a 1/6 scale show at the end of the week. Not sure what day yet, where we'll just go over the week's news. I've got my Saturday night live show where we do all the geeky news, talk about what we've bought, and we normally end with a bit of a topic. And then I've also got my comic book review show where we'll review the last week's comics. And I've got 2 videos out. Can't remember what my hot toy video this week is. I can't remember. There's a 1/6 scale review out on the channel on Thursday.
You put some content out there. That's brilliant. Good work. Good work. I thought I was overdoing it with 3 videos about Mission Impossible. Agent Silver Fox, Ian, brother, thank you very much for being here. Is it you're just sticking to the Instagram for now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've actually decided I'm interested in doing guest stuff on YouTube, not my own channel, but featuring regularly on people's channels. So I've enjoyed it. I was on Shane's show, and I'm doing more with that. I was on last night. I've had another couple of requests, but I want to keep it quite. I've really enjoyed this. I must say, I've really enjoyed it. It feels
nice.
It feels organic.
Yeah.
That's how I wanted it
so
to
I've
be.
really
You
enjoyed.
know? Yeah, no, that's really nice. You're welcome anytime if you want to be a regular. And same with you, Pete, as well. If you don't mind me keep calling you Pete when I know you Peter.
No, I take anything, mate.
Okay, Pete. So,
Rich, I'm going to send you my bill.
your bill or your bar bill. Okay, think again on that, sunshine. But obviously,
this is why I love this. This is good. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Man, anytime. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I know time's precious for everybody. So for me, subscribe to my YouTube, Reviews with Rich, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm doing more and more content. Obviously doing this. I'm going to try and do this weekly now, whether it be a film I recommend or a film that we just want to give a kick into, and just have a chat about it. Just be quite, like you said, just kind of organic, not too format focused, and just to everyone to have a laugh and to people to join us. So if you haven't seen it already, I did a review on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I also did a vlog on my channel. I also did the same for The Flash, and I also did it for Indy, where I did a video review and also did a vlog for those as well. So if people can subscribe to that, I'd be very much appreciated. I am on, I think, 923 now subscribers, so close to that 1,000, but I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to, if it happens, then great. But if not, don't matter. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And that's the main thing. So I really appreciate everybody who has popped by today, and everybody, there you go. James, thank you very much. We'll have to get you on one week. He's doing me a solid as well. He went to see somebody we follows wife perform, and they got me something signed, so that's really nice. So, yes, that was really nice of him. Thank you again for that. So in the meantime, have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Take care.